Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing all of these leftist, bogus, endless anti-Trump witch hunts. Well, I've said it before, but I'll say it again because it becomes more true every time I say it. Fani Willis is done. Her little stint as district attorney of Fulton County will not continue. I promise you, whether she decides to resign or not, she will not remain in that office. And I guess my more bullish take is that Fani Willis is going to either resign soon, or her case against Donald Trump is going to completely implode. We covered her defense, I think, last week, where she suggested that yes, her and Nathan Wade did end up in a relationship, but actually it doesn't matter because they weren't together or they weren't having a personal relationship before she hired him. No, it just happened afterwards. It was uncontrollable love. You can't blame her for that, now can ya? She's also made the defense that, well, actually they went 50-50 on the trip, so she hasn't been financially benefiting from giving her lover boy nearly $700,000 to prosecute Donald Trump. No. Well, what if I just told you that it seems as though those statements were outright lies? She made those statements as her official defense, I believe, on the record, or actually rather under oath. And so now Fani Willis could in fact be found to have lied under oath, further signaling the demise of her career and possibly, and of course, hopefully by extension, the end of this ridiculous anti-Trump election subversion case. And I don't mean Donald Trump committing election subversion, I mean Fani Willis interfering in the 2024 election. I got some great analysis to show you guys from Technofog. I'm sure many of you guys are aware of him. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so this is Technofog. I'm sure you guys have seen this Twitter account before. He's a legal analyst, lawyer, journalist, an independent guy who operates on Substack. Here's the Twitter thread that's now going viral, amassing over 1 million views. New details alleged against Fulton County DA Fani Willis. Witnesses will testify that she cohabited with Nathan Wade despite her denials at her home. The relationship began in 2019, 3 years before Willis/Wade said it began and before Wade's 2021 appointment. This is official documentation from court. Additionally, this is the kicker, witnesses are expected to testify that Nathan Wade cohabited with Mrs. Willis at her home in South Fulton until her father moved in with her, at which point Nathan then began to cohabitate at an apartment of a friend of hers in East Point. Witnesses will testify that Nathan Wade cohabited with Mrs. Willis at an Airbnb in Hateville that was paid for by taxpayer money to serve as a safe house for you and Mrs. Willis. So they were literally living together, and when Fani Willis's father moved in with her, supposedly, Nathan Wade moved in with a friend of Fani's, if I understood that correctly, not too far away. She was literally living with and housing the guy. Then to make matters even worse, they both cohabited in a taxpayer-funded, quote, safe house, an Airbnb property that Georgia taxpayers were paying for. There's also a claim that Mrs. Willis met Mr. Nathan Wade back in October of 2019 at municipal court training, and supposedly, they began more than just a friendship during that conference. So first of all, Nathan Wade, in his first sworn affidavit, claimed that he never cohabited with Mrs. Willis, but of course during their vacation to Aruba, they stayed in a 1-bedroom accommodation with a single king-size bed, and so obviously they were clearly cohabiting. Then of course he lived in her home for a while, they lived in an Airbnb together, he lived in her friend's house, but we are to believe that their personal relationship is rather new and only happened after his appointment, as if that changes anything. It's still a violation of Georgia ethics laws. So defense number 1 seems to be shattered. It wasn't exactly a great defense to begin with because it still creates a clear conflict of interest. It's a clear ethics violation to be sleeping with your subordinate, especially in such a high-profile case. Now it turns out that Nathan Wade and Fani Willis are liars, and there's people that are supposedly going to testify to that effect on the issue of cohabitation, but then moving to the second defense, that Fani Willis didn't actually financially benefit at all, that they split the costs of these lavish trips that they were taking. Another defense that seems to be falling apart. Nathan Wade claims that Phyllis never received funds or personal financial gain. The argument they're making is that their travels were personal expenses, divided roughly evenly between the two. That is real interesting. Nathan Wade claims that financial responsibility for personal travel taken is divided roughly evenly between the two, with neither being primarily responsible for expenses of the other.
Are you sure about that?
Very interesting, considering, well, we have all this, and this, and this. All of these transactions paying for vacations in full on Nathan Wade's personal credit card.
Liar!
I would really love to see the evidence of Fani Willis paying her way or paying for an entire trip using her own personal funds for her and Nathan Wade. Yeah, I have a feeling we're never going to see that. Probably because this is yet again another lie under oath. We have the literal receipts, the actual transactions. Nathan Wade took the money, but he claims that he used his personal funds, not the money that he was making while prosecuting Donald Trump. So therefore, it doesn't really matter. We spent our personal funds. Yeah, where did those personal funds come from? So here's basic accounting 101. Nathan Wade, in a way, is a corporate entity, right? I'm sure he, operates under a law firm. Of course, that's a corporation. They then build the White House, build Fani Willis, build the district attorney's office for the work that they did. Those are corporate funds, right? The $700,000 of taxpayer dollars being funneled to Nathan Wade, that's company money. He then has to pay people who work within his office, who obviously are helping him with the paperwork and the case itself. But then, of course, Nathan Wade takes some of that company money and pays himself what? A salary. Haha, crazy, I know. He pays himself a salary, pays taxes on that money, and then uses the personal funds to take Fani Willis on luxury travel vacations. I guess it's clean now, right? Because it's a personal expense. It's his personal funds. How absolutely idiotic is that? That is the definition of enriching yourself. That sounds like taxpayer dollar embezzlement. Fani Willis and Nathan Wade are treating us as if we're stupid and don't understand basic accounting and financial topics. Or rather concepts. They claimed in their defense that they went 50-50. We have evidence suggesting the exact opposite. I'd love to see evidence presented showing Fani Willis taking roughly 50% of the costs. They've made multiple claims that they did not have a personal relationship ahead of Nathan Wade's appointment. It seems as though there's a couple people from their personal lives that are willing to testify to the exact opposite. They claimed that they never cohabited. But not only did they live together, but they lived together again on taxpayer dime in an Airbnb that they paid for with taxpayer dollars because apparently they needed a, quote, safe house. A safe house that they lived together in. Seems like more of a lover's retreat than a safe house now, doesn't it? None of it is believable. It seems like two people who are obviously in over their heads. They've been caught. They know they've been caught. And so they're just saying anything. It's like one of those viral encounters you'd see on Cops where a person gets arrested and they're just going on with the most unbelievable nonsense, attempting to wiggle their way out of it. Fani, there's just no wiggling. You're in big trouble. You ought to resign before things get messy. Who knows? You might even be able to salvage your case against Donald Trump if you resign early. But honestly, the way things are going right now, I think we are going to witness a spectacular collapse pretty much across the board. A spectacular legal collapse in Fani Willis's Fulton County. Oh, don't you love to see it? Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Another Fani Willis update. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.